Hi love, hello and welcome to Co-Creative Healing Journey. My name is Greta, I am a healer, and this is Energy Paradigm, a reading where I am bringing through messages from Spirit to support you in your journey of awakening as you're moving out of darkness, within, without, and into ever more light. Spirit wants to support you, and I'm part of that support system and bringing through messages. So let's look at what Spirit wants to share today. We have here the Lightworker Oracle by Alana Fairchild. So let's look and see. I feel like drawing the cards in a different way today. 1, yeah, 2, and 3. Okay. So they were in order. Let's look. We have got Master Healing, Master number 33. I'll just show you the cards. We'll go into more details in a bit. We've got Second Ray of Wisdom. And we've got Past Life Activation. Okay, so we're telling the whole story today. With Master Healing, number 33, this is a card that talks about having lessons. And really, I'm actually going to go more into the master number 33, which is a number of soul mastery, soul growth, and soul cycles. And this card in particular is speaking to having a lot of knowledge that is otherworldly, and otherworldly in the sense of beyond this world. Very often we see planets and things like that, we think about aliens, but Spirit is bringing much more an energy of the soul, the spiritual realm. So not to be materialistic in it and look at another physical planet, but look at the energy and the energies of the soul and the energies of the spirit. And here there are some lessons at that level. Yes, okay, there are some lessons at the level of the soul to think about the material realm, the earthly realm in a different way. In a different way. And this with Master Healing and those soul cycles, this is talking about events, things that have been happening in your life that you probably have not thought of in this way. You've been thinking about it as maybe, oh, I keep failing at this because it's not meant to be, or because I'm not good enough, or I'm not putting in enough work, or whatever. There's a rationalization happening that's very logical, very human, but also very earthly. And Spirit wants to bring through a higher perspective of wisdom that is about looking at it in a spiritual light, looking at the energy present. So just as this person is there and they have their body and they have their earthly self and their earthly life, they are also a spiritual being, and there are spiritual dynamics, soul dynamics at play that Spirit wants to talk to you about. And Past Life Activation is speaking to that. You're a very large being, you're a gigantic being, and you have lived beyond this life, right? And if that's not your belief system, then I can't really help you with that. I don't really see how I would explain it in a different way, but maybe you can receive the messages and have it fit your belief system. But this is very much talking about past life activations, an activation of your bigger being, and especially focusing on lives that you have led before on Earth, on this world, on this planet. And that's so interesting because I was thinking about past lives just yesterday, just last night. And of course I go through energies in order to prepare for these readings, right? In order to show up and move through energies. But there's a message here of a window opening into knowledge, energies from a past life. And that's part of awakening. Part of awakening is connecting the dots. Okay, I see it. I see it. Wow, this is a whole thing. How on earth am I going to share this? Okay, we'll go and see. I'm going to start with my own personal experience. There's someone in my life that I've known for a while, but with this person, there was always something off. There was always something where on paper we should get along, we should be best friends, we should just have the most harmonious relationship. But there was always something that, we were very drawn to one another, feeling a soul bond, soul connection. But then in life, as I was saying, there was kind of failure, things weren't working out, and in the end it ended up with a lot of conflict and we parted ways. But then yesterday I was thinking about this person and I had a realization of how we're soul connected and we have a soul bond and a soul connection, and that really the core of this issue is that who we were to one another in a past life actually and who we're intended to be in this life is not connected. It's not the same. So in the past lives, we had all of these experiences. I'm not going to share the whole thing, but we had all of these experiences that I remember and can place and be like, okay, that's that person. But in that past life, we made certain promises to one another that, okay, some life we're gonna get this right, we're gonna make this work, and that promise is ongoing and it's active, but it's not this life. And I swear to God, I think the first time we had a big kind of falling out, this person said to me, they were like, not this lifetime. And at the time I hadn't awakened very much, actually, so I didn't really get what they were saying. And then they were a big activator for me in my life, and led to a lot of awakening. So I didn't really understand what they were saying. But yesterday I was reflecting back on it, and all the pieces fell into place. The soul cycle came to an end, and I was able to see the situation from a higher level of, like that, yeah, for you, a higher level of wisdom, to see that there are higher energetics at play and fulfill the knowledge of the past life and why that knowledge came to me in the first place. It's not just because it's cool or it's interesting. There's a functionality in this life. It serves to explain dynamics in this life that then would allow me to feel like such a sense of completion and be like, okay, yeah, I'll see you next lifetime. Like the song from Erica Badu, I just started singing the song, I guess I'll see you next lifetime. And the song goes like, maybe there'll be butterflies, and maybe there'll be this, and maybe there'll be that. And it's that kind of energy when we bring in those soul dynamics. And in a sense, yeah, it is awakening to them. When we bring them in, then all of a sudden it's like the picture changes, and there's so much healing and there's so much completion. And then the current state of our relationship felt fantastic. It felt perfect. It's like, yes, of course we should not be in each other's lives, of course we should go our separate ways, like, yes. And just feeling so much love and so much connection, and that soul level love and connection is there. Those soul level dynamics, that even that spiritual level of perfection, the essence of perfection is there, and it can be liberated and in order to realize itself and manifest in reality, in our experience. The events are still the same. We still haven't talked in X amount of time. They still said that. I still said that. Those things were still done and said. But how I experience them today is completely different, even from just yesterday. And that's the kind of magic the Spirit wants to talk to you about. Now, you may have noticed while I was shuffling, those cards went flying everywhere. So I'm just going to take a moment to pick them up. All right, I got them. And in order, we have the Pink Rose of Lady Nada. Interesting. We've got the Fifth Ray of Intellectual Knowledge, and we've got Life Path. Of course we do. Okay. The Pink Rose of Lady Nada. We have number 29. 2 plus 9 is 11. So we are in the presence of the master number 11, which is, for me, a connection to the higher self, which is also represented by that rainbow bridge that she's holding. Mastery of energy also. There's a mastery of a situation that you can have at this time. You can have mastery over a situation in your life that has been really hell. And this is you moving through the portal, stepping into the other side, into this heavenly experience of it. There's healing with the rainbow, there's wholeness, there's blessings, there is a full acceptance of it. And this is a card that specifically talks about forgiveness, forgiveness of yourself, forgiveness of another person. And in general, forgiveness is releasing energy. It is to release energy that hasn't been fully integrated and that just wants to keep manifesting, but you just don't want to move through it. So you forgive it, you let it go, because that's part of the message. It's part of ending a kind of a soul cycle, right? Because as I was giving the example, there are promises that my friend and I made. Yeah, they're my friend. They're my soul friend. My soulmate and I made in another life, right? My soul friend and I made in another life. We made promises. And that energy is there. And it wants to realize itself. But we don't want to keep moving through the cycle of realizing itself, because that's not what this life is for. And for you, you can apply it in your life. That's not what this moment is for. This season of my life, this year, this space, this job, this project, that's not what it's for. And so there's forgiveness that allows to interrupt all of those cycles and a lot of karma, and either transcend it, completely release it. I would believe that. Resolve it, release it, but also maybe set it aside. set it aside, and again, see it next. Let's look at it next lifetime. Let's look at it next year, next time, next conversation. You know, whatever it is, there's a potential here for you to have mastery over a situation by seeing it from a higher perspective, where you're not so linear. It's not so much, again, causality. He said, she said, this happened, that happened, but there's a higher perspective, and there is the release of the old narrative. There's a release of the old understanding, so that something new can come in its place. Now the next card was the fifth ray of intellectual knowledge, because whatever you're using, the logic that you've been using before was faulty in some way. Do you see this being at the center, shining bright, and everyone around them looks kind of diseased, and spirit is going like they're infiltrated with that an unforgiving belief system. So it's almost like this belief that you have to keep going until we figure it out. We're going to keep arguing until one of us is right. We're going to keep relitigating this, reliving it, also lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, until it is resolved. And there's an energy of awakening that is possible for you at this time. And this is even at a soul level. You can realize something that you couldn't in other lifetimes, which is to awaken enough that you look at this pattern of repetition and go, no. And that's, a common wisdom about karma and dealing with karma. You interrupt the karma. That part of the disease, part of the illness, is wanting to see it through and to the end. I'm seeing Thelma and Louise driving off the cliff. It's people who are just like, if you're in a bad marriage, and then it's like, but we're gonna make each other miserable and fight about who's right over and over and over and over again, right? They're in the couples therapy session, arguing and relitigating the same issue, instead of being able to say, okay, you know what? Let's find a solution. Let's heal this. It's like that. There's something about this kind of very ingrained, what is a spirit? What would be the disease? It's a compulsion to see it through. Part of it, sometimes it's about, I've invested so much in this, right? So imagine at a soul level, but we've had this lifetime and that lifetime and things like that. Part of it is feeling like we've invested so much in a situation and a circumstance and a person, and we just can't bear to let it go. But it feels much more like a compulsion, like getting pulled along by the energy, by the situation, and feeling like we cannot just let it go. But there is, this is the other side of forgiveness. It looks like this. It feels like this, right? Symbolically, to be just lit up from within and to be in the light. And we were just talking about how awakening is coming out of darkness into more light. And this is someone embodying their light through the power of forgiveness and the ability to, let's be clear. It's not about just let it go. It's not about just, don't do it. That's an action. It's about the consciousness, knowing I don't need to go there anymore. I don't need to pursue this. I don't need to put energy into it. I don't want to. My heart is speaking. My heart wants something else. I want something else. And yeah. And changing paths. And this is a card that's coming up to say that this is a key step in your life path. You're intended to live this out. You've gone into the situation, and you've incarnated as a soul to be at this crossroad here and now, with the situation, with the circumstance. So whatever we're talking about, it's not minor. Wherever you are connecting these messages to, in a situation and circumstance in your life, where you have the opportunity now to basically interrupt the karma, change tracks, and bring something new about, you were incarnated to do this. This was part of your life path and the goal that you set for yourself. You see, it's almost like this being dove into, and then that's also the message. If this is a situation that you at a soul level have chosen to dive into, to put your energy into, to experience, then what is there in it that you cannot forgive? So first of all, you're 100% able to forgive it. You're able to do what is needed here to interrupt the karma. But also, kind of, why wouldn't you? So one of the issues that I had with this person, for example, would be a lot of let's say societal dysfunctions, right? So it would be things like, let's say, racism, sexism. It would be those kinds of things that would show up and we would discuss and things like that. So and argue. But if those things are showing up, and I can come to a point where I understand there's, there's personality, there's things at the personal level of how this person was raised, where they grew up, what they believe, what they've experienced, trauma, all of that stuff. But there's also a higher perspective here that is saying that there's also an agreement. And I have to say that I never gave it too much faith. But I did see a lady who was talking about it the other day on YouTube, and I was like, meh. But there is the level that this is an agreement that you've made, that this person would be that for you, and that you would that by recognizing the wisdom that this person intends to be that for you, it tells you something about the path that you've chosen. Because again, these are significant things. You're not going to waste at a soul level, you're not going to waste dynamics for this kind of lesson on something minor. This is, for this is a significant soul friend of mine. This is soul family. We're not going to waste an encounter on planet Earth in this day and age with the survival of the species on the line, for example. We're not going to waste it on them teaching me a lesson about, I don't know, belief systems, for example, right? We were talking about racism and sexism. It's not at that level. It's not about that. There's a higher level. There's a higher wisdom at play. And again, Spirit is saying it is specifically a wisdom that illumines your life path, that gives you knowledge and wisdom and a higher perspective on who you are intended to be in this world. For example, for me, at a basic level, it would be that I had that experience and now I can share it with you. This is my life purpose, and that relationship has, oh my God, absolutely activated me, but also inspired me in my life purpose, right? It would be like that. It's something big, it's something significant, and you have yet to fully arrive at it. I know what it is. It's a different realm, but I don't care to share that. So it's been such a profound lesson for me. Such a profound lesson on so many levels. We have 2 cards here to finish off. We have got Wisdom of the Divine Feminine, and then we've got Spiritual Service. That makes sense. Wisdom of the Divine Feminine in this deck has a very specific meaning, which I love. And it talks about growing in alignment with situations and circumstances. And this is talking about how, again, whatever this issue is, the situation, the circumstance, there's soul energy locked into it that you're intended to grow through. You're intended to move through it. The only way out is through. You have to move through it, engage with it, learn from it, be affected by it, be touched by it, be changed and transformed by it in a way where you're becoming more of yourself. And that's the second ray of wisdom. It's the wisdom to know the situation is not here to break me. It's not here to pull me down. It is not here to mirror brokenness to me. It is here to call me into a higher, truer version of myself. It is for expansion, it is for growth, it is for becoming. And that is also the wisdom of the Divine Feminine. And we could say that everything in life is that, but that's not actually true. I don't believe that anyway. I don't believe that every person who's mean to you is here to help you grow as a soul. I don't believe that every person, every circumstance in the world is here to help us evolve. I don't think they have the depth or the spiritual energy for that. Some people are just mean because they're broken, because we live in a system and in a way of existence that leads to a lot of broken people, and broken people break people, right? Hurt people. So that's just completely logical, natural unfolding. But then there are those situations, there are their circumstances that are have that energy in them. They have that karmic load. And so, similarly, it would be something like in the twin flame movement, how many people were like, we're having these kinds of relationships. They're karmic relationship, karmic bonds, karmic work we're doing together. We're twin flames. And then you look deeper into it and it's actually a dysfunctional relationship. It can look the same, right? And vice versa. A karmic relationship can look dysfunctional, but there's actually karma at play. And that's the wisdom. It would be to recognize that. And that recognition in those situations, those circumstances, there's the potential for profound healing, for profound forgiveness, release, and again, growth and evolution into just a bigger, better, truer, more light version of you, to grow into a higher experience of yourself. But if there's dysfunction, and then you're just kind of getting you're not rising, you're descending into devolving. You're not evolving, you're devolving into the broken patterns, into the hurting and the wounding, and playing around in that mud. And both can also be at play, which also I had with this person. There was we had trauma, like we were resonating on the level of trauma, but we also have that karmic bond. So all of those levels can be there, and that's what it is. It's about the discernment. It's about the discernment. But what you would have on your hands, though, is something very precious, something very beautiful, very rare. It doesn't mean you have to live in it. It doesn't mean that it doesn't mean anything, literally. It doesn't mean that it has to be anything, and especially in our earthly focus, right? Understanding, it doesn't mean you have to be best friends. It doesn't mean you have to get married. It doesn't mean you have to have children together, or it doesn't mean you have to do all of these things that actually have a lot of karmic consequences, right? You don't need to do any of those things. You just have to grow and evolve. It's for you, right? And if you need to grow and evolve by marrying this person, by having children with them, and so on and so forth, you will. But it is as part of the wisdom to detach the two. It doesn't have to be cause and effect, again, linear. It's not cause and effect. It's a higher truth at play. And with that, we're going to finish with spiritual service. And this is a card that actually talks about doubt. And Spirit is saying that in the situation issue, you will have doubted yourself in a significant way. And so the purpose of this revelation that is coming in, this greater insight and the healing that is possible and here for you, that you can awaken into, is fundamentally to fundamentally to heal the doubt, the way in which you've been doubting yourself. Maybe you doubted yourself in what you saw and understood and believed about this person, about this connection, about this issue, about this situation, about this job. Whatever it is, there was something spiritual at play, so something sacred to you. And in some way, shape, or form, you moved away from that. So again, I'm going a lot to the relationship aspect, but it could be, for example, a relationship, and then this relationship ended, and then you're like, I'm never getting married. But you have spiritual service to live out by getting married. So you doubt yourself and you doubt your service by choosing not to get married because of what happened in this connection. It was supposed to awaken you to you, not turn you away from you, in the fact that you have a calling into a specific relationship, a specific marriage, right? It's the same thing. I hate this workplace. I'm giving up on the industry altogether. I will never work like this again. Well, you have a calling. You have a calling to have that, not that specific job necessarily, but to work in that industry, or to use it for something. And so to let go of that, to let go of the whole thing, is not serving you, and it's not part of the spiritual service that you're here to render, to give to the world. There's a higher perspective here at play. And so again, part of the higher perspective, the wisdom, is also to know that the resolution of the situation is necessary for you to grow into a higher version of yourself, which you can then leverage, which you are then intended to leverage in some form of service. And the thing of it is that completion is very important, and integration. We have to integrate things in order for them to be complete, for us to be done with it. We have to complete it. This is not something to just leave undone, but the completion also is not outside of you. It's inside you. It's for you to be in a space and a place where you have your peace, you have your clarity, you have your healing. You're well in that situation and that circumstance. And one thing that I noticed was a lot of negativity falling away in how, the negativity here also poisoning people, but the negativity falling away in how I thought about this person and what I thought about this relationship. It's a lot easier to think of it as something beautiful, something profound, something meaningful, without having any desire to pick up the phone or to go back into it or anything like that. It is what it is. It was what it was. But now it can morph into something that is transcendent, right? So from a human perspective, it's not something to pursue, but from a soul perspective, it is something to value, something to love. So there you go, love. That was the reading. and I hope that it served you. I would love to hear how it resonated with you, where it was showing up. Share as much as you would like to, as much as you feel comfortable with. And I'm sending you lots of love, wishing you all the best, lots of love, lots of support, lots of positive energy in you engaging with this energy in this process. It is very, very gainful, Spirit saying there's a big, big reward in you doing this work, in you moving through these energies and realizing this bit of awakening. So I pray that you will. I certainly support you in doing that, sending you lots of love, wishing you all the best. And I do feel guided to tell you that I'm not sure when it will be. I think it will be on some point here on the channel. There will be a living guidance about different levels of knowledge, how you can know different things from different parts of you. And so look out for that. That would be relevant to this energy. Subscribe, right? It will pop up at some point, or maybe it already has. I'm not sure when this is getting posted, but you have been advised. Sending you lots of love, wishing you all the best. May you be blessed always and in always. Can never say that too much. And I'll be seeing you around. Bye, love.